Hi everyone, it's Hayes, and in today's video we're going to be doing the commentary / analysis for episode 17 of Miraculous Ladybug season 5, Adoration. So before I go any further, as always, I'm about to spoil the whole episode for you. So if you haven't seen it, please go and watch it before you watch this video, besties. I will try my best to leave some links down below where you can watch it. It has sock plaque already fallen away, has it? Okay, I'm sorry, sock plaque. I'll try to leave some links below where you can go and watch it, but I make no promises. I'm not always able to find them. Not gonna lie, they've been really cracking down on copyright. It's very difficult to find. Like, my best advice for this would be to watch the episode as close to it coming out as possible. Like, if you can't watch it live, fine, but like, if you can watch it like an hour after it's aired, that's when you have like the best chance of watching the episode. So try and watch it as soon as it's come out, basically. And the second thing, as always, I haven't read the show Bible or seen any of the leaks, so I mean, in this video I'm not really going to be speculating much about the rest of the season or the other episodes we haven't seen that are set before this, but I would still really appreciate it if you could keep all of the comments leak free. And also, that being said, whilst I obviously haven't seen 13, 14 and 15, I did watch 16, 18, 19 and 20, so I've seen the other episodes around this one, so you can freely talk about those in the comments, just please nothing from the leaks. Thank you very much. So this episode, you probably all tell I'm in a great mood because, oh my god, I loved it. I would give this a solid 9 out of 10, and the only reason it's not a full 10 I would say is due to the stuff with Sabrina, to be honest. I really liked it. And I know it definitely had a lot of a slower pace, and usually I don't really like slower paced things. However, with the way this season has been, just overall, I really felt like we needed it. Lots of the episodes have very plot heavy things, have been very rushed, a lot of the pacing of them. And whilst it's been helping progress the plot, there's just been too much all at once. This isn't really the video to be discussing it in, but it's a bit of a mess. I haven't been a big fan of the structure this season. I really enjoyed the structure of season 4. That was a really good mix between like plot heavier episodes and then some more filler episodes that were a bit more chill. Whilst this episode I still think was important, it was like the plot of it more chill, right? So I was just like, oh, I felt like I could relax in this episode a little bit. It had bits of humour in, like for example with the mayor getting the framed photo out from under the hotel deck. Why would you have that under there? I don't know. It was great. I had like the stuff with Adrian and Marinette's room, that was funny as well, but then at the end it got very serious with the end scene with Adrian, Marinette and then Gabriel with the Senti monster stuff. So it was really good with that, with how it changed tones ready for 18, 19 and 20, with 18 at the very least is quite a serious episode, I say, 19 a bit less serious, 20 again a bit less serious, but then again the end of 20 with Lila in Revelation when she gets all the stuff about Gabriel because she affected Natalie, gets more serious. So I definitely felt like this episode, in terms of tone and pace and structure, this lighter kind of episode was very much needed. So I'm very grateful for it. Like I always tell people, Miraculous is my comfort show, but season 5 hasn't been very comforting. And I would say pretty much all of this episode, apart from like the very end of it with Gabriel, was very comforting. So I really loved it. And just very sweet. So the main criticisms I've got to say, because I don't have a lot to say because I really like this episode, are around Sabrina, which we'll get to when we get to it. And also, just one thing I have to say with Zoe, and I've said it a few times now, and I've had a few people disagree with me and say, oh well, she blushed in Soul Crusher. So basically what I want to say is, whilst I personally don't ship Zoe and Marinette, I kind of like it. I think it's very sweet. I know it's never going to happen because Marinette is very much in love with Adrian and now he's in love with her too. I don't think Marinette's going to be able to like see anybody else, so I knew it was never like they're actually gonna get together. But I still liked seeing it in the show. I thought it was very sweet. But one thing I have to say is that I really felt like there was zero indication that Zoe had feelings for Marinette. Now I know people said like, oh well, she blushed in Soul Crusher and she was really there for Marinette in transmission. And whilst I agree that yes, she did blush in Soul Crusher and yes, she was there for Marinette in transmission, blushing doesn't always mean you like somebody. Blushing can be in happiness. You can flush when you're happy. You can blush when you're surprised by something. Blushing does not mean you're in love with someone, okay? I get nervous all the time. I blush all the time. I blushed yesterday when I answered the door to the postman. I'm not in love with him. He's just my postman. Blushing doesn't mean you're in love with someone. And second of all, in transmission, don't get me wrong, I love how Zoe was there for Marinette, but it could just be interpreted as friendship. You know what I mean? I don't feel there was any standout moments. Please tell me if I'm missing any. But I don't feel there were any standout moments to say that Zoe was in love with Marinette, or even had a crush on her, or whatever, however we're going to phrase it. I don't feel like there was really any indication given. So it's not particularly a problem with this episode, but rather, like, basically all the time Zoe's been in the show, so since Soul Crusher to now, I don't feel there was any indication. Of course you're allowed to disagree with me, but I really don't think her blushing in Soul Crusher is good enough of an indication. If it was enough of an indication for you, that's wonderful, but you gotta remember this show is for 8 to 10-year-olds. They're probably not gonna have picked up on a blush a whole season ago either and concluded, yep, she has a crush on Marinette or is in love with Marinette from a single blush over a season ago. Maybe it was enough for you, but it wasn't enough for me. I'm sure it's not enough for other people, and it's definitely not enough for the target audience. Like, it's not enough for 8 to 10-year-olds. They needs to be a lot more explicit than that. So, like I said, it's not really a problem with this episode, but I do wish they had hinted at it more heavily previously. So, let's get into it scene by scene. The first scene with Andre and Zoe, I loved it, and just in general, Andre in this episode, spectacular. And I loved how, like, in this episode, he was kind of like Zoe's wingman, basically. He was absolutely wonderful. Loved it so much, but oh my gosh, I'll say this in my reaction. So I'm obviously reading the subtitles as it's going, and it's like, I wrote this script for the love of my life, whatever, and I was like, Emily? Because obviously Emily was in the film. No, he meant Audrey. I was like, I thought you meant Emily. That he was in love with Emily too. That would have been a cool twist. If everyone was in love with Emily the same way like everyone's in love with Marinette and Adrian. It would have been cool. Turns out no. Audrey must have been absolutely wonderful when she was younger though. Yeah, she must have been great in order for Andre to do this. Also, another thing I did find a bit strange was the fact that Zoe has been elected. So, season 4 is set during the second half of the school year. And in this episode, we're very close to the end of the school year. So season 4 is season 5, close to the end of the school year. And Zoe, who starts part way through season 4 at the school, has been elected class representative. Like, don't get me wrong, I think Zoe's great. I think she'd be a great class rep. But like, was the rest of the class just terrible? Was the previous rep, like, was it, I don't know, was it Aurora, was it Mark? Were they just awful? And they were just like, no, so we just had to get rid of them. Need this new girl to be the class rep. I was like, okay, whatever. So then moving to the hotel scene where Marinette and Zoe turn up, it was just awesome. And I know I already did a whole video defending Zoe, but people say repeatedly as like a massive critique of her is that she hasn't developed. Yes, she has. We don't see it as much because she's not a main character, so we don't see it as clearly as with Marinette and Adrian, but like, she clearly has. Like, even Marinette says in this scene, like, what happened to this scared Zoe who first arrived from New York? And people say she hasn't developed. I swear, some people are not watching the same show as me. But anyway, and then Audrey, she was very strange at this scene. She was like walking around like she had constipation. She was walking very weirdly. But I also really liked the scene between Chloe and Zoe. Like, if you didn't know, I have 3 brothers, and I did feel like the scene was a pretty good representation of what it's like when you have brothers and sisters. Like, I know this was like a very petty version of it, with like Chloe being like, oh, you can't step on my stairs and stuff. However, if you don't have siblings, like, I feel like that's a really good representation of like what it's really like, because Marinette doesn't have any siblings and neither does Adrian. And I know Alia does, but we don't often get to see her interact with her siblings in the episodes. It's usually just Alia. Like, only a few times have we actually got a lot of episodes with her sisters in. So I really like this episode showing like all the petty behaviour between Chloe and Zoe, because me and my brothers, even though we're all grown up now, we 100% still act like that. And then I just like, the whole plan on the Eiffel Tower sounds wonderful, but then Marinette was like, we're gonna suspend a trampoline between the 4 legs. Like, are you trying to get somebody killed, Marinette, on your last day of school or whenever this dance is taking place? Really? Is that a wise idea? Also, where on earth are you gonna get a trampoline that size from? I don't know. But again, Andre in that scene, being the wingman to Zoe. Andre was great in this episode. He didn't do a great deal. He was only in like, I don't know, like 3 scenes. He was amazing. I love Andre and Zoe's relationship. I loved it in Soul Crusher. I know we haven't really got much until this episode. It's like the first time I've really seen them together, but yes. Yes, yes, yes. So, the kitchen scene at the Agreste house. Adrian has to go to the dance with Marinette. Gabriel's about to say no, and Natalie's like, you want all his dreams to come true, right? Natalie, she's just too powerful. What I really like to see, it'd be the most stupid scene ever, where Adrian wants to do something and Gabriel's like, no you can't, and Natalie's like, yes you can, and they're both like stood there like having a ring off, just like twisting their rings. That would be hilarious. But Natalie, amazing in that scene. I wish she'd been around for the ending, although that would have been a very strange kiss, having two adults watch you. But yeah, okay, anyway. So this is the scene where I felt like the episode did feel a little bit weak. Like this episode isn't a 9 out of 10 because there was less plot and it was not as fast paced or whatever. It's because of this scene. So Lila is talking to Chloe and Sabrina's like, I need both of you for this plan to work. And Sabrina, like, we don't actually get to see the plan. Sabrina says no, and Chloe's like, well, no one will suspect you because your dad's a policeman. So it does kind of seem from what Monarch Daddy says when he's akumatizing Sabrina that Lila, or Chloe, or both, I don't know, because again we didn't see it, asked Sabrina to steal something. Now perhaps this scene would have been stronger, like this whole sequence rather, because it's kind of like 3 scenes in one. This whole sequence would have been stronger if we had actually seen Chloe / Lila / both actually seen them say, like heard what they said exactly to Sabrina, for her to react pretty, not violently, but she did have quite a strong reaction to it. Like she was like immediately no, and she was willing to lose Chloe over it. Like Sabrina's done a lot of things in order to stay friends with Chloe, so I am really wondering like what on earth they said in order to get Sabrina to say no. So perhaps this whole sequence would have been stronger if we'd actually seen what they said, maybe, possibly, I don't know. But it was just a bit odd why exactly Sabrina came back after being akumatized. Like if Sabrina thought she was that good of a person to deny what Chloe was finally trying to say her, then wouldn't she have just managed to break out of the Akuma? And maybe I'm putting too much credit to Sabrina, maybe she's not like mentally strong enough. I mean, Chloe's broken out of the Akuma before, Kagami, other people, Marinette kind of, you know what I mean? So I don't know, and like there was also no guarantee of Sabrina's Akuma being Vanisher so she could steal things, because it does kind of seem that's what Chloe and Lila wanted her to do, and Sabrina said no. So did Sabrina sort of think, okay, well I didn't want to do it as Sabrina, but now I'm akumatized, it's okay, I can do it because no one so far has been arrested for actions they've taken whilst akumatized? It was just a little bit odd for me. Yeah, maybe this whole sequence would have been stronger if we had seen what Lila and Chloe had said to her when she said no, like right before it. Maybe that would have been helpful, and it would have made what Monarch akumatized her in to make a bit more sense. But like, why did Sabrina even come back to help them? It was just very odd because they were the ones who upset her, and again I know Sabrina doesn't have a spine and maybe I'm putting too much stock behind her, but I just felt like the motivation around that, like not so much Chloe and Lila's plan. I understand they wanted to get back at Marinette for being in the hotel, fine, whatever, that's something Chloe would do, I'm not questioning that. Just about Sabrina's role specifically, like I kind of liked it in a way in that we got to see Vanisher again, because the first time we saw it was at the start of Antibug, but when the episode starts, like they literally just solve the Akuma and Sabrina's back, and then we see her again in I think it's Heroes Day, I want to say it's Heroes Day, but again like Ladybug manages to save Sabrina pretty much right away down in the sewers. So I kind of liked it that we actually got to have like a full episode of Vanisher, yeah, finally. But yeah, Sabrina's motivation just seemed a little bit odd, and also like the policeman defense with Chloe just seemed a bit weak. Like Sabrina's done maybe not as bad as stealing before, but she's done plenty of other not so nice things. Like why now are they using this excuse of the policeman? Like why now is Sabrina's moral compass coming into it? It just seemed a bit strange for me, really. I understand it had to happen in order for the rest of the episode to happen, but yeah, it was a little bit weird. I think it could have been better if we'd actually got to see the conversation before Sabrina says no. That might have helped a bit, but as it stands right now it does seem a little bit weird. But anyway, moving on Marinette's dress was amazing. I love the dress she's designed. They better all get to wear these cool outfits in the finale, assuming that's when the dress is going to be, because it's like the finale is called the last day, so I feel like the last day of school. I feel like it could refer to other things, like the last day for Gabriel to be Hawkmoth because they're going to defeat him or whatever, but I feel like it definitely also refers to the last day, so I hope she gets to wear it. It was gorgeous. I'd wear that dress. Loved it so much. And I really like how the sequence with Sabrina going around with Marinette and Zoe came together. At first when I was watching it, when I was filming the reaction, I was like, what is going on? What are you doing? But then when it all came together and all stuff went in Marinette's bag, I thought it was amazing. And Chloe was really good in this scene when she was like, you know, I don't know what's called, like the law speak or whatever, when she was saying all these different words like with the jury and stuff, and then she said it was first-degree phone slaughter. Best line of the episode. That was amazing. And I know this was meant to be a funnier, lighter episode, but Tom and Sabine were just a bit weird in this. Like, they had such a volatile reaction to their daughter taking paper doilies from their bakery. First of all, they didn't recognise it was theirs when it has their initials on it. And second of all, they're only paper doilies. Like, yeah, I know it's stealing, but like, she is your daughter and they're paper doilies. And then when Marinette got expelled, which I'm a bit confused about, like, don't get me wrong, stealing is wrong, but it is off school premises. I know it's kind of to do with school because they're all called to the Eiffel Tower to talk about this plan for the end of school dance. I get that, but they're not in school. It didn't happen in school. And I know it's, yeah, I just don't really get why she was expelled for it. And obviously I know she didn't end up happening, but it was a bit strange. And I'm like, okay, so you're gonna expel Marinette for that. But then at the episode when you find out that Chloe is framed her for all of it and Sabrina did it all, is Chloe not going to be punished in any way? I don't really get it. Like, I don't understand how a lot of Chloe's behaviour, not all, but some of it does go unpunished. I don't really get why. It was very strange. But Zoe was wonderful in the scene, coming forward to defend Marinette. And speaking of, I was kind of a bit annoyed at Adrien in this scene. Like, when Chloe first steps forward, Adrian's like, oh my god, Chloe, just go away. We don't need you. But he says nothing else until he shows up as Cat Noir. He just stands there and lets this happen to his girlfriend. And I understand there was evidence there, but there was like evidence in the episode Ladybug, and he still stood up for her, and they weren't dating in that episode. So I was a bit like, Adrien, come on. Like, I understand the episode was meant to be about Zoe and Marinette, fair enough, but like, it just seemed a little bit disingenuous for him to just stand there and be like, oh no, my girlfriend. Like, he just didn't do anything. So I was a bit like, come on, she's about to be expelled, you may never see her again because you're not allowed to leave the house and do other things. And he was just like, this is fine. Like, do something! I don't really know. Okay, I would have liked him to do a bit more. I understand they couldn't with time constraints. I guess is part of the reason we didn't get that conversation with Lila and Chloe towards Sabrina about what they wanted her to do. But I was like, you could have added in like an extra, at least just 2 other lines for Adrien to say something about Marinette. Like, I understand the whole point of the scene was to get Zoe to come to the defense of Marinette rather than Adrien, but it just seemed a bit odd for him not to say a single thing. So that was a bit strange. So then we get to the Akuma fight. I thought it was great. It was handled really well. Like, I think it was pretty easy just to get something on Sabrina so you could see it, which was illustrated with the flowers, although Cat Noir sprayed her in the face with like that glue or whatever it was. Don't do that. Don't spray someone in the face. And I just definitely, this episode made me think, I know it's set before Revelation, but Revelation made me really think Sabrina has to betray Chloe and Lila. This episode is like another great catalyst for her betraying them. So I'm assuming at some point, episode 21 to episode 26, Sabrina's going to betray them. I don't know what she's going to say exactly or how she's going to prove what they've been doing, or maybe she just betrays Chloe. I don't know, she'll betray both of them, but she has to, and this episode is another great catalyst for that. And then let's get to the confession scene. The first confession scene with Zoe and Marinette. So I kind of did guess that Marinette was gonna think that Zoe was in love with Adrien because of what Zoe said, like everyone loves this person and they're in the year above me, so I'm not gonna be able to see them next year, which I find a bit odd as an excuse because Luca doesn't even go to their school and they see him all, well, I know he's not in Paris at the minute, but otherwise throughout the rest of the show that he's been in, they saw him whenever. Like, okay, let's say she was in love with Adrian, like she'd still be able to see him, I'm sure, from time to time. It's not like the end of it completely, you know. So I did kind of think that Marinette was going to think that, and I did seriously think, because I said in my video on Monday, like my theory video, that whilst I like the idea of Zoe being in love with Marinette, I didn't think they were actually going to follow through and have Zoe say something because of all the censorship. So I did really think when I was watching that Zoe was just going to say yes to get Marinette to like shut up, and that's so she wouldn't know. So I was really happy when, well, I was about to say when Zoe told Marinette. Zoe didn't say anything, she just kind of smiled. And I thought that was like a lovely way to do it. Would I have liked Zoe to have come out and said, it's you, you're the one I'm in love with? Yes, however, I just thought that scene was so sweet. Like, it had music, I'm pretty sure it's meant to be from the movie playing in the background. We also got that music in Protection when Adrian and Marinette are about to kiss, like their sleepover thingy, well not sleepover, the picnic thingy with the video games. I love that piece of music, it sounds absolutely beautiful. I love it, and it's also kind of like plausible deniability, because I'm pretty sure the photo frame Zoe has, we never get to see the other side. Pretty sure it's of Marinette or of Marinette and Zoe. And because Zoe doesn't actually say, yes, I'm in love with you, it's kind of like plausible deniability. I understand in countries where this episode will be shown where they're not so happy with LGBT themes and stuff, it's still gonna get censored a lot. They're probably just gonna take out most of that scene, to be honest, and other ones. But I absolutely loved it. Would I have liked Zoe to come out and said, yes, you're the one I'm in love with? Yes, however, I do think the way it was done was so super cute. And I also love at the end that like Zoe has kind of like resigned herself to knowing that whilst she loves Marinette, she knows nothing's ever going to happen between them because of how she feels about Adrian, and now Adrian has feelings for her too. So she kind of knew already, but like it was really sweet and supportive how Zoe was still like, but you should go and tell Adrian how you feel. Like, I've just done it to you, nothing bad happened, so you should go and tell him. Loved it. Like, I understand it must hurt Zoe, and I understand like she must be feeling probably a little bit sad that she knows she can't be with Marinette because Marinette doesn't have feelings for her, she's in love with somebody else. But I just loved how supportive she still was, that she loves Marinette enough that it's okay if they're not together because she wants Marinette to be happy, even if it's with someone who isn't her. And I thought that was a great message. Again, like when you write for children, you've always got to keep in what you're teaching children in your mind, and I thought that was wonderful. Why couldn't have this been on TV when I was a child? So anyway, the final scene of the episode, the puzzle split scene of the episode with Adrian and Marinette, again, the confession, awesome. Not gonna lie, even though I've been waiting for it and been hyped up, and I ship them a lot more than I ship Zoe and Marinette, in that I don't ship Zoe and Marinette in the slightest, I think Zoe and Marinette's scene, like that confession, was a lot sweeter, but it was cute. I was like, oh, she's finally told him she loves him. They go to kiss. Then of course Daddy Agreste comes in and stops him. A bit creepy since it seems he was watching the whole thing. Yeah, I thought it was great, a great way to round off the episode. It had been a very sweet, nice episode, and then that final bit with Gabriel makes it more sinister, which leads in well to emotion, because that episode with what Felix does in it and the ending of that episode and stuff like that is a lot more darker and serious. So I thought that was a great way to transition, to go from one really, really sweet confession with Zoe and then one confession that wasn't as sweet but was still nice and like everyone was really happy to watch it, and to have Gabriel's like face in the dark, god, that's gonna haunt me forever, just come forward and just say no and then disappear into the darkness as he's twiddling his ring. I'm gonna message Cartoon Apocalypse after that and see if he still denies Sentimonster stuff after this. I'm a terrible friend, I just wind him up about Sentimonster stuff. But anyway, yeah, I thought this episode was amazing. My only real complaints about it is that Zoe having feelings for Marinette should have been foreshadowed better. Her blushing once in Soul Crusher, or maybe other times, really isn't enough for me, for other people, and for the children target audience. Maybe it was for you, but it definitely wasn't for me. It needed more. And also the stuff with Sabrina, the motivation behind it all, it was just a bit strange. Didn't really like it. I understood it had to happen in order to get Vanisher and to stealing the stuff and framing Marinette so Zoe could come to her defense, which is a really good show of how Zoe feels about Marinette. But it was, yeah, I don't know, it's just a bit weird. I didn't really feel like it worked completely. I'm not sure I voiced well enough why I didn't think it worked, but I think that's because I don't understand well enough why it didn't work, but I know it didn't work. I think the best thing for that sequence would have been to show the audience what Chloe and Lila actually said to Sabrina, so we can understand why Sabrina's nearly crying when she says no, because she really doesn't want to do something like that. So I'm assuming they've asked her to steal something and frame someone else, but I don't know for sure. There was no guarantee that Sabrina would be akumatized into Vanisher, and like also why did Sabrina come back? Like, no, I don't think, now I've been thinking as I'm filming, no, I don't think Sabrina is mentally strong enough to be able to reject an Akuma. Fine, fair enough. But why did she come back? Why didn't she, you know, Lila and Chloe were the ones who upset her, so why didn't she take this time to get revenge and do something to them instead, like she did in Miraculous? That was all aimed at Chloe. And again, I also think in Anti-Bug, that Akuma, it's been a while since I've seen Anti-Bug, I think that Akuma attack was also kind of aimed at Chloe. Chloe was the reason Sabrina was akumatized at the start, well, I guess before that episode technically. So a bit confused with that, but anyway, I really love this episode. So sweet, and the change of pacing is definitely needed. MVP of course goes to Zoe. She was amazing in this episode. I've never been brave enough to tell anyone how I feel, so I think she was wonderful, not just for that, for other things too, but definitely special mention to Andre, I think. I know he didn't do a lot in this episode, but he was, I thought he was wonderful with the scenes he got with Zoe. Like, he's just, they work so well together. I'd love to see more of them together in the show in the future. I just think that they have really great chemistry together as characters, and I love it when they come together. So besties, I'd love to know what you think of this episode. As always, if you're going to write me an essay, I can't wait to read it, even though it might take me a little bit longer to get around to it. But if you could just put some paragraphs in there, doesn't matter if the paragraphs make sense, just makes it a little bit easier for me to read rather than one solid wall of text. Because some of you have a lot to say, which I absolutely love, but sometimes it's very difficult to read. So if you could just break it up for me, that would be wonderful. I also just want to say I have filmed a reaction video, but the reaction is sadly not going to be able to go up until next Thursday. I have, first of all, an extremely busy day and an extremely busy week, so I'm not going to be able to get it done in time. I know, I'm sorry. It'll be up for next week. Usually I would have it up for tomorrow, but I sadly don't have time. As soon as I've edited this video, I have to get to uni, so there's not much I can do about it. So I'm sorry about that. So today's Wednesday video, I know we usually do regular content Monday, Thursday, Saturday. Today is going to be the Thursday video. I'm sorry, I know, but I hope you like it. It's going to be a longish video, so I hope you do. And also on Saturday, assuming there are no spoilers, to replace it, I have already filmed and edited a video that is over an hour long. It took me 4 hours to edit, 90 minutes to film, half a day to plan. So I hope you enjoy that one as like a way for me to make up for there being no proper Thursday video this week. So I hope that's okay with you all. It's just the way the cookies crumbled. I've just become mega busy this week. I had time to do this, but I don't have time to do anything else. So I'm sorry about that, but I do have time to reply to your comments. So I'd love to know what you thought of this episode. Do you ship Zoe and Marinette? I personally don't, but I thought they were so cute together. Like, I love it so much. I just, oh, the scene of the confession, adorable. Loved it. Oh, yes. So good. The ending, loved it. How sinister. It was great. So, questions for you. Ending, thoughts on that with Gabriel babes, and also the stuff with Zoe. Did you like it? I thought it was adorable. So I'd love to know what you think, besties. Please don't worry if you don't agree with me. It's fine. We all like and dislike different things. Don't worry about it. Besties don't always agree with each other, but besties always respect each other's opinions. So I'd love to know what you thought of this episode, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!